friends, it's Cheryl from the Lifestyle Digs, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about the Camino de Santiago. I started walking the Camino Frances on September 20th of 2023. So I began in the French town of Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, probably massacring the way the French say the name, but that is typically the starting point of the Camino Frances, and it goes approximately 800 miles to the town of Santiago, or Santiago de Compostela, it's also known as, but let me just call it Santiago because that's quicker to say. So about 800 kilometers or 500 miles. So I've had somebody leave a comment on one of my other videos about the Camino, and he said something to the effect of tourists on the Camino. And when I was staying at an albergue, I was in the bottom bunk, so I could see the slats from the top bunk right ahead of me. There was nobody sleeping on that top bunk at the time, but one of the slats, somebody had written, "Where are all the pilgrims? All I see are tourists." Now, pilgrims is the term that is given to the people who are walking along the path of the Camino de Santiago. And pilgrims come in many different forms, as I discovered quite early on. A lot of these pilgrims are in tour buses. So the buses take the pilgrims from one town to another, and they sleep in the albergues. So basically, they're taking up space from the people who are actually walking the entire Camino. But what can you say? They're allowed to do so. So I call them bus pilgrims. But today I just wanted to touch on why some of the people who consider themselves pilgrims on the Camino Trail, they refer to so many other people as tourists. So let's just talk about passports for a minute here. I consider myself a citizen of the world, but I travel on a Canadian passport. So, for people who are tourists in Spain, these are people who are traveling. If their passport has any country on it that does not say Spain, then they are a tourist. They are a visitor in Spain. Now, visitors to Spain can stay for up to 3 months, but that 3 months does not include just Spain. That is 3 months combined in any of the countries that make up the European Union. So, say I wanted to go to Portugal and France and Germany, I could visit all these countries, but I would have a combined total of 3 months in order to do so before I would have to leave the European Union, go somewhere else. I could go to the United Kingdom, I could go to Turkey, I could go to Russia, just throwing out any other country in the world, and I would have to go away for at least 180 days before I could come back and re-enter any of the countries that are inside the European Union. So that's what makes me a tourist, because my passport is not a country that is one of the countries in the European Union. So hopefully that kind of gets my perspective out there. So basically, if you are in Spain and you are walking on the Camino de Santiago or riding a bus along the Camino de Santiago, then that means you are a tourist. You are a visitor to the country of Spain, a tourist. Now, while we are walking along the Camino de Santiago, we can give ourselves the title of pilgrim or peregrino. Peregrino is the Spanish word for pilgrim, but let's just call it pilgrim because I'm an English speaker. I do speak Spanish. I can, I speak enough Spanish to get around. I am not fluent. I lived in Madrid when I was younger. I worked as an au pair when I was 20, turning 21, but I don't consider myself fluent in Spanish. I can get around. But whether or not one can speak Spanish does not mean one way or the other if they are a pilgrim or a tourist. If you're walking the Camino de Santiago during your time of walking the Camino, you are a pilgrim. But overall, if your passport has any country on it besides Spain, then you are a tourist. You are a visitor in the country of Spain. So I just want to say that's kind of a pet peeve of mine that's come up a couple of times. Why some people who consider themselves all high and mighty, and maybe they're traveling on a passport from United Kingdom or New Zealand or Dubai or any other country in the world, they seem to think they're the ultimate pilgrim, and everybody else that's walking the Camino is just a tourist. Well, if you're walking the Camino de Santiago and you are staying in albergues, those are the dormitories that many pilgrims stay in for the traditional pilgrim on the Camino experience, then you are a pilgrim during those few weeks that you are walking the Camino de Santiago. But you are also a tourist in the country of Spain. You are a visitor. I stayed in Spain. I also visited Portugal for about 10 days, but my total accumulated time was 90 days, and then I got myself back out of there and returned to England, where I was a tourist, a visitor in the country of England for about 2 months before I took another flight back across the Atlantic Ocean. I spent a few months in the Caribbean, and then I came back to England because I had a return ticket. So there I was. I'm a visitor. I'm a tourist in England quite frequently, and I'm occasionally a tourist in Spain. So there you go. I hope that helps clear up at least my perspective on what a pilgrim is and what a tourist is. So look at your passport. Does it have any country in the world on it that does not say Spain? And you are in Spain. You're a tourist. Okay, that's it for today. This is Cheryl from Lifestyle Digs. Bye for now.